Welcome to our podcast about helicopters and how they work. I am Jacob. I've never been in a helicopter. Have you ever been in a helicopter, Eric?
Of course I have, because I'm your co-pilot. I've been flying for as many years as it takes to get a helicopter license.
Just that many? I don't want to fly with you if you just got your license. It sounds dangerous.
Right. I've never been in a helicopter. I've debated about taking some helicopter tours, but they are very expensive, and I heard they're very loud, so...
I didn't even think about that. Like, I mean, sure, you got this ability to go up and down and see all the sights, but yeah, if it's loud, it might not be any fun.
That's why they have to wear those giant earmuffs.
Yeah. Like I'm wearing right now. I wear giant earmuffs even just to record this podcast.
Oh, are you on a helicopter?
I'm not on a helicopter, Eric. In fact, I am on a journey to make it to the Grand Line. That's
We're
right.
there.
Welcome back to the Grand Line Tourist, a chapter-by-chapter examining or re-examining of Eiichiro Oda's One Piece. Yep. I'm doing some examining. It's my first time on the helicopter, so to speak, because I am your tourist, Jacob, and across from me on the internet is the only tour guide who, you just kind of apparently just got his license for tour guiding, if we're sticking with your helicopter story there.
There's a lot of different things that I'm in lieu of to complete. Maybe I just will never finish, like One Piece will never finish. I am Eric Sivu. I'm here to guide you all through this journey. On the East Blue for now. We're about, 40-ish chapters away from getting to the Grand Line.
How many kilometers? How many knots? How many yards do we got to go?
They don't measure stuff like that. They measure stuff in gum-gums in this world, in this One Piece world.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
So we're about 40-plus gum-gums away from all of that.
Well, that gives me absolutely no information whatsoever. But you know what? We have some information from some of our fellow tourists and tour guides out there. We are taking a moment to pause to collect our letters at port. And in particular,
letters at port.
We have letters at port. Hear ye, there's a challenge, Eric. A challenge.
We've been challenged, yes.
It's from Jai, friend of the podcast. He says, "Hi guys, if I was to give you a recipe from the One Piece food book, courtesy of Sanji, will you guys do a little cook-off for the listeners and followers via Facebook?" ? Most people just use a questioning tone when they read a question, but apparently I just yell out the word question mark.
You read it like a statement, and the question mark's the only way anybody knows.
That's right. Sorry, Jai. You have a great email. I'm ruining it. But photos of the food and prepping will be fine, is what he says. And to be honest, I don't know. What do you think of this, Eric? When the challenge was put forth?
I am not a very good cook, but I am down to do something simple. Maybe something below 8 steps.
I like to think of myself as a good cook. I was excited it was a cooking challenge. I'm like, oh. And in particular, I went and I checked out on Amazon the one page of the cookbook it'll let me see, and guess what the recipe was? I think it's it must be the very first page of this cookbook.
Was it leg soup?
It wasn't leg soup. Now, think about this. You're making a cookbook. You're Sanji, and you're going to put your most important recipe right in the front of the book. What is it going to be? What is your most important recipe?
I don't know. A cigarette? I don't know what his first thing would be.
It is fried rice for Jin.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. I could be wrong. It was definitely the one that shows up in the preview on Amazon. Is it the first one in the cookbook? I think so. I think it was also just the first page of the cookbook, but I was just surprised that was that. And
wow.
Apparently, I know. I was like, that's such a cool moment of lore in the cookbook. I was like, oh, that's primo. Good choice.
Fried rice for Jin.
Yeah. So we could maybe make that. Or we could, or whatever Jai thinks is good for
whatever
maybe
Jai wants to do. I'm down to do.
Yeah, they might.
Let's do one. Let's do a challenge.
Yeah, no, we should. And I think deep down, part of me wants to run. I can feel this urge. Sharing cooking is just a cool thing. I'm not particularly good at fried rice, though I made it today. Are you good at making fried rice?
It's one of the very few things I know how to make because it's so easy.
Oh, well, see, yeah, it's in your wheelhouse. No, maybe we'll have to see. We'll have to run it by Jai.
Whatever Jai would like to post, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
cool. Whatever. Yeah, send us some recipes, Jai. We'll take a look. We'll see what we under 8 steps or something was what Eric's
towards my criteria.
I'll maybe what I'll have to do is I'll have to choose the 8 steps you get to do among like a 25-step recipe, so we can extend it. You will only be participating in 8 of the steps or something along those lines.
No, I mean it's a challenge to the both of us, right? Like we have to both make the dish.
Oh yeah. No, but I felt like if you get tired after like step 8, I could just
then
like, you
automatically
could get steps.
lose. I don't want to lose.
Oh, I thought it was a challenge where you either both win or lose. I thought me and you were on the same team. You want to be on different teams in this challenge? You want to do like a cook-off?
A little cook-off.
Oh, cook-off. No, sorry, cook-off. Those words imply me and you are against each other. Oh, okay, never mind.
That we're fighting each other with our different cooking philosophies, dude.
Yeah, no. Make it hard. Send in something real difficult that you think Eric will struggle with, and then
that's so cool, man. Fried rice for Jin. That kind of warms my heart, and it's very thematic.
No, it makes me want to. No, I was super impressed when I was like, oh, let me just take a look at this, and I was like, whoa. I didn't expect to be hit with so many feels just by like the first page of a cookbook, right?
Yeah, dude. Wow. All right.
Exactly.
I'm hyped up for this chapter now.
Yeah. No. So, and you know what? I'm gonna take your hype and I'm gonna spit it out in the form of an itinerary.
Yep.
It is time to know what goes on in chapter 61, the demon.
El demon.
Right. El demonio. El demonio. I think is actually. I think that's it. Demonio. Si, senor. Jin. Jin is ready to kill Sanji. Sanji calmly exhales some smoke and spits his cig to get free from under Jin's tonfa. Thanks to Christian for our understanding of what that is actually called.
I know.
Sanji gets a kick on Jin, but takes another hit himself. So, they're kind of exchanging blows here. Krieg hears some murmurs among the crew, doubting Jin.
Doubting
and
him.
he says, don't, just chill out. Don't worry. The demon will soon be unleashed. And Sanji, clearly injured, is still trying to talk the tough talk. He's talking back to Jin. He's kind of insulting him a little bit. And all this time, Luffy is still, over kind of near Krieg, unable to really get to him or do anything to him. But he sees a moment of Krieg's distraction, takes a lunge, but Krieg calmly cycles through his gigantic list of possible weapon options.
Yes.
We're gonna probably talk about this later, but I'll say what I say now, and we'll correct it later. But tosses some explosive in the water, and then starts shooting a bunch of stakes.
Yeah.
And one of which impales itself in Luffy's glute. I think that's that muscle, right?
Is it like the back?
Or is
of
it
the
a little
thigh?
lower? Oh, back of the thigh. Is there a name for the back of the thigh? Hamstring. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's not a glute. Hamstring.
Okay.
He gets hit in the hamstring, not the glute. Sorry about that, everybody. I'll work on my, biophysics degree in the meantime. In the meantime,
Anatomy.
Krieg. Yes, that's what. Oh my gosh. Okay, goodness. We're gonna get through this itinerary.
Like
I
Graves.
promise. Krieg then goes and calls Luffy by his other name, Monkey. And Luffy, like a true honorable future pirate king, makes some monkey faces right back at him. So we just got this wonderful, very kind of cute little fight going on between Krieg and Luffy, while Jin and Sanji are in a little bit more of a serious battle.
Yeah, a lot of blood.
A lot of blood. Sanji is clearly in trouble, and Jin seems to miss an attack on purpose. And Sanji, notices, but he lands one of his own blows, but his own attack, due to all the damage he's taken so far during the fight, it's almost too much for him. Like, landing an attack is almost defeating Sanji himself. Jin is kind of aware of all this, and even as he's getting ready to finish Sanji, there's tears and or sweat in his eyes, you can't really tell. He yells out, "I can't do it. This was the first time anybody in my life was so kind to me. I can't kill this man." And then Krieg, not looking pleased, prepares some other weapon, and the crew does not sound happy about that because they're
begging him not to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we're shooting stakes, we're shooting shurikens everywhere. Everyone's a little bit in danger when there's all this stuff flying through the air. That was a mouthful. We made it through. Yeah, pretty wild chapter. We're continuing. Last time we had Luffy Krieg, now he's shifted over into Sanji Jin, and we had, some stuff happen, right? We made it to what I believe is going to be the end of the fight, right? With I can't do it. That feels like the end of the fight to me, potentially.
Yeah, so from everywhere, like, let's just kind of jump into it. I think when it comes to Jin and everything here, it's just so interesting how I think one is really cool because you mentioned the cigarette actually in the last chapter that he lands on his back with the cigarette still in his mouth. And what a fun little way to kind of pay off. The art style shifts, so it must have been colored, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
In the original print. And then we lead into the cigarette spit. Awesome. And I wrote down, I don't know if this pun's going to work.
Do it.
A leg per cut. It's a leg per cut. Like an
leg
uppercut,
per
but with his leg. It was a leg per cut.
I thought you were making a joke off of paper cut, so that pun worked perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they're showing off here. There's a lot of external dialogue about like how he's really hurt from Pearl. Because he did. He got... I mean, Pearl, landed on him with the full weight of Pearl's body. Multiple things. But
Pearl's a handsome and large man.
Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about Jin. And I wrote down Jin, the demon of feelings. Because he's he has a lot of feelings in this fight, apparently, that's happening. Are you surprised at all that this is how this fight was going to end?
It feels like it had to. We've had Jin quickly prepped up to be a killer, and so it felt like the ramp down kind of just fits with that ramp up, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not as impactful as I think like another character. Like I feel like something that is similar that feels more impactful is Nami running away with treasure, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because of it played out over a longer period of time. I think even one of our other tour guides out there, Christian, he was mentioning that we really didn't get to see Jin fight until the moment he hits Pearl, and that wasn't that long ago, right? So we're really feeling Jin out, and I think the thing that got me the most though is, and this is actually kind of it's one way to quickly ramp up the storytelling a bit, is just what Jin actually exclaims though. Why can't he do it? This was the first time anybody in my life was so kind to me. Yeah. It makes me wonder what kind of life Jin had.
I know, exactly. Well, I mean, Pearl was raised in the jungle, remember? So
I forgot about that.
So Jin obviously was raised somewhere much worse than the jungle.
Yeah, so I think that line kind of maybe is one of the first times that okay, I'm getting a little bit more behind what Jin is saying, right? This demon, whatever, he's been fighting for many, many years, but if that was the first time someone had showed him kindness, it's starting to check out, Mm-hmm. He broke for whatever reason, even if it wasn't, even if this, if he's just not seen it before and this is the first time it hit him, it broke him, and so we have the demon, Krieg's demon has been broken, and it maybe just, we were talking about Krieg, how he has his weapons. It feels like Jin was one of those weapons, right? This steadfast thing that he could just fire off, right? And so that relationship is now broken too, and we'll have to see. That's probably going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What does Krieg do and or think of Jin at this moment, right?
Yeah, because he literally had his Pearl and his demon, like a shield and like a bullet sort of deal, right?
Yeah.
It was very interesting. You bring up a very cool thing, just what you said is he probably looks at Jin and Pearl as like an extension of weapons in his arsenal.
Yeah.
That he's just tossing around, right? Which is why he's really pissed off at the end here, because he's like, I have full obedience over my men, which is something that they talked about, I think, in the last chapter. Because when Krieg was talking, he told all his men to shut up, and they shut up, right? And the cooks all talked about or I think it was even Patty and Carney were like, whoa, he has control over these guys. Again, through fear, though, right? So it's kind of interesting to see that Sanji's kindness kind of broke through Jin's fear of Krieg, at least in this moment that's happening right now, right? Yeah. And it's working on him, and it stopped. And he can't do it. He's already pulling punches. It's different, right? He's trying to get Sanji to quit in a different means than what Krieg.
Yeah, we didn't come into this fight with Jin being like, I want to kill Sanji, right? We came into this fight knowing that Jin didn't feel formidable in the way Krieg does, and that I'm just gonna rush through this person, right? He felt like, I am going to work this situation. I'm going to work this situation out in a way where everyone gets what they want. You know? We get our boat. Sanji gets to leave because that's kind of what he wants deep down, because he's not feeling ready to kill the first person to offer him kindness.
Right.
So,
and it's like a first person to save him and his captain. He's done it over and over again, right? So it's kind of cool to kind of see this happen. I think about one regret, or I think about one criticism that's coming up right now is I wish we had more moments of just seeing Jin be a demon, and I think that would have paid off just a little bit more. I think this is one of those chapters where maybe there's a time crunch for him to finish specific things, but we do a lot of telling the audience, a lot of us reading, just a lot of.
We get a little, Oda tries. We get a little interlude here where Krieg, defends his demon, right? Mm-hmm. And in particular, there is a panel of a Krieg with the I've said the word several times now. Tonfa, yes.
Yeah.
With the Tonfa like holding someone on the ground by the neck and blood everywhere and like this weird black fade out. Like it's a pretty cool panel of this chapter I think. If not this chapter, the last chapter. No, yeah, it's this one. And so yeah, it's a really quick show and tell. Yeah, Jin, for whatever reason, hasn't gotten the breathing space, and it's just because I think I don't know, he did okay in the that poll from the last chapter. As far as the favorite characters, but yeah, I think every other character just happens to feel more interesting. I like Jin better than Pearl, I think, as far as what's going on, but everybody else is kind of a little more developed than Jin at this point.
Yeah, and that was the one little thing where I was like, it might just be chopped up to timing and all that stuff, but I do like this turn that we kind of knew was coming, you know what I mean? But it's also a testament to kind of what Luffy does in general, to everywhere he goes, right? Like, through Sanji's cooking, he's able to literally convert a demon into just a regular human being. Right. Yeah. He's able to save a demon in that sort of way, which is kind of fun to think about. Any other thoughts on Jin before I move on to my next small little topic?
No. I think there's one panel where Jin looks like he's licking the blood off of his lip. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Is that what's going on? That's his tongue, right? And he's like tasting the blood. Oh, okay. And is this the turning point where Jin kind of like then actually really starts attacking? No, not. I don't know if it was I just found that panel very interesting.
The blackout. This is supposed to be, I think, like a misdirect for the audience, because the next thing we see is him really winning. That's the blackout before we jump. Yeah, we cut to the Luffy Krieg fight.
We're getting it. It's interesting because I don't know. In general, in One Piece, if we get a lot of two things happening at the same time, so close to each other, like. It's kind of, it makes this chapter a little bit hard to follow or parse, just maybe because before, like, we used to kind of have, like, back at the ranch, like, something would be happening somewhere else, and we could kind of just, clearly, this is happening at the same time somewhere else. Well, this was kind of a moment where something not, like, 50 yards away, right, is happening at the same time, but it's kind of progressing on its own a little bit, and that's where, good call. Like, it's kind of like a blackout. We have a little bit of time in the fight that we don't see, actually.
Yeah.
No,
because we flash back and Sanji just more beat up, and I assumed that they kept fighting, right? Like it must have just kept going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That makes sense. What was you said you had a little something else?
I do.
I'm excited.
So just to get back on this Krieg Luffy fight, because it's still going, and it's probably going to be the definitive fight currently for this arc. Obviously, it's I don't know if you know about fighting game terminologies, but there's different archetypes of fighting games.
Upbeat.
And there's the two archetypes that I've chosen for these two between Luffy and Krieg is a zoner versus a rushdown.
Oh my goodness! No, the terms make sense vaguely to me, but I don't know them specifically.
Yeah, so obviously
zoner
like a zoner is
rushdown.
somebody who uses like projectiles and stuff to kind of keep the person out, right? And that's
Krieg's
how they win.
Zoner.
Yeah, eventually through chip damage and landing big projectiles and stuff like that, right? And then right now Luffy, who also stretches, usually stretchy characters end up being a zoner too, but in this case, Luffy has to rush down on him, right? He has to kind of get down to him. And I'm kind of bringing it up because there's a big thing that we haven't talked about in both these chapters is that Luffy's at a huge disadvantage because as a zoner, as somebody who's shooting projectiles like Krieg, he's on the other side of a platform who can just shoot his guns the way he wants, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing connecting Luffy, like the only way Luffy can get to him other than jumping, which Luffy can't do because if he jumps, he can't move.
Swimming, not, right?
He can't swim either.
No, yeah. I don't know, I wasn't sure if that's where you're getting. That, like, because there's a body of water separating them, right?
Well, yeah, it's body of water, but they have that giant plank. They have that giant, right? The mast is connecting it, like a bridge.
You got it. Yeah,
that's
I
Luffy's
forgot.
one way of getting through him. Yeah. So that's kind of why Luffy's at a disadvantage right now, and it's kind of cool to see, like, what's Luffy gonna do to get to him now? How's he gonna get there? Because he tried. He tried in this chapter. He tried to just run across.
Yeah.
And it comes to your point where you're talking about where he threw. I'm pretty sure he flicked like an explosive in the water.
That was subtle. Like that was. I think that's like that was one of the moments of action that like you just get like a side view of like Krieg's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like whoop, and then so Krieg really is a technologist. He's got all this stuff built into him. It's pretty wild.
And it's his philosophy, right? It's just who he is as a person. Like he's not gonna. When you get up close to him, when you really push him as a person, you're gonna find that he's nothing, right? But from a distance, as long as you let his fear kind of rule you, or like his weapons and all that stuff, you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Like you can't do it. But he's as a person, there's nothing there. He's not a. There's nothing to fear. He's not cut out to be captain or to be king of pirates, right? We just have to. We know our boy's gonna win. We just have to see what unique way he figures out on, like how he gets.
And it's funny. I mean, to dwell on that for a little bit, we know our boy's gonna win. It's kind of true. In a weird way that like, how can we enjoy fights where we know the winner? You know what I mean? Like, like it'll be interesting at some point where we get thrown a chapter where Luffy loses or semi-loses or is like, out for a little bit, because we're so used to him winning, right? If I had to put on my tinfoil hat and say if Luffy fights Krieg, is he gonna win? I'm gonna put down a yes. I'm gonna put down Luffy wins the fight.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna try and guess who he loses to in the future.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I mean, if he. Oh wait, you mean like who will he lose to in the future?
Yeah.
Oh well, clearly if him and Gaiman fight, he's done.
Oh, there it is.
The future Gaiman fight between Luffy and Gaiman. I mean, Gaiman has all these animals under his command. I feel like Gaiman also. Did he have a gun when he first met Luffy? Was there some sharpshooting going on?
That was
Gaiman's just.
Doesn't he land a shot? He lands a shot on Luffy, but Luffy just bounces it off, right?
Gaiman's like a sharp shooting zoner. Like, Gaiman can take the whole island with just... Best character, we got him right there.
Yeah,
there's no way Luffy is second best character. Just can't beat the best character. So, clearly, that fight has...
Based off the polls we read last week, Gaiman's like, what, 30th?
What, Luffy got first? Oh, so surprising. What kind of poll is that? This thing was rigged from the start.
But yeah, it's just kind of what I wanted to chat about real quick. Like, it's obvious, like, Krieg wants him far away. Luffy's gonna try and get close.
Yeah. No, it's a funny way to think about it. Most of my fighting game skills come from Super Smash Brothers. So
hey, those archetypes exist in that game too.
Yeah, we got Samus can fire some projectiles. We got some characters that can fire bow and arrows. So yeah, we got some zoners. We got some what was the other one? Zoners
Rushdown. Somebody who's really good at like getting really in your face, getting close really fast. Okay. Very mobile, very fast.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so like
I was always a Kirby. I'm a Kirby player myself. Shout out to all the other Kirby players out there. Kirby's awesome because he can take everyone's abilities.
That's true. He can kind of be whatever archetype you need him to be when you're fighting.
Yeah, it feels a little Luffy-ish in his ability to stretch and squish a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. Did you want to jump into some ha's? Yeah, no, I was going to say I really liked the fact that he gets calls Luffy a monkey. And, like, we know his name's Monkey D. Luffy, right?
Yeah, that's... I didn't even connect that until you said it. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's his name.
I don't know if it was intentional. I don't think Krieg knows that. I think it's an accident.
Yeah, that's an accident. So it makes my joke even better when he says, well, this monkey... is gonna give you a nasty scratching. Yeah, no,
that was Luffy really doing some like little bit of pun work there, right?
Yeah,
it went unappreciated because at least by Krieg, but yeah, I'm gonna give you a nasty scratch. It was good.
It's great. It's great. Should we battle some panels?
It's time for the dun 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 dun. I don't know any. I should have like referenced some fighting game music.
That's Guile, dude. I got it.
Kyle?
Yeah, that's Guile from Street Fighter.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, Guile is going to lead us into the most important section of the podcast, the panel battle. This is where us, me, Eric, and you potentially, and you. I'm talking. Oh, there's another one over there in the back. You as well.
And
you all get to send in your panels, and we duke them out. We put them next to each other, and they do some talking. They also do some roughhousing, and we let them do that, and we see what happens. See what shakes out. Sometimes you just gotta let the fight be what it's gonna be. And in particular, if we're gonna start this off right, we do have someone who sent in a panel this week, this chapter. Christian sent us in something for chapter 61. So shout out to Christian. Thank you so much. He reached out at grandlinetourist@gmail.com, like everyone should do. Like everyone out there, everyone should do. And so
I already whispered into my microphone.
Who edits this podcast, Eric?
It's been accepted. They know.
Who edits this podcast?
You can't take it out. It's too much work.
It is an amount of work which I will not do. It is a pain. So it may stick in. But he tells us that the best panel has to be Jin on the last page, being won over by kindness and compassion. That is that's that Straw Hat crew culture. That's how
It
we
is.
put it. And it's very, yeah, and that's very true. And also, I just gotta, we got to take a quick look at that panel in particular and
Yeah, I'm
call
taking a
some
look
things
at
out
it
about
right now,
it.
Yeah,
We
it's
got,
great. It's a close up. It's a close up of Jin just really crying. First time in my life that anybody was ever so kind to me. I can't kill this man.
Yeah, and there's even like he's holding onto his headband, which, oh my gosh, how did I? It's weird.
Yeah.
You can like iconically know something about a character without realizing what it is. He has a headband on, and
Yeah.
he's scrunching it a little bit for the first time, and
Because
now
he's
it kind of is.
because his character's changing.
Yeah. Oh, is the headband gonna come off?
I
Is
don't
he about
know.
to pull off his headband?
Wouldn't that be
My
cool?
goodness.
I don't remember.
Oh,
I was this tempted.
yeah.
I was very close to reading the next
No,
chapter.
this is very interesting because like Oda's done this before, and usually I never catch them before they happen. But this looks like a potential like heavy foreshadow of the next moment of action that you wouldn't get until the next chapter came out. We got like it's got little plup plup like for the noise of his hands kind of scrunching up that Yeah, so this may be not only a great panel for the someone being won over by kindness and compassion, but also for a bit of some cool foreshadow if that pans out in our next chapter. So really great pick by Christian there, I'd say.
Yeah, it is a great pick. But you know what's a better pick? The pick that I'm going to do right now.
Oh, you know what? Oh, goodness. Let's see what
I did it.
Let's see what nonsense you've sent over. Oh, my goodness. We have Doom cough, 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 in a shaking Sanji on the ground. The ship's a little bit cracked. We can kind of see it. It almost feels like it's curving and a little bit angled. And Jin is standing in the background with his tonfas. And yeah,
Blood
it's
dripping down.
Yeah, blood dripping down off of Sanji or off of the tonfas.
Oh, the top
that's,
was my man.
oh my gosh, that's brutal. Is this right after the flashback? When does this moment hit?
This is right when we come back.
So yeah, this is like, I wonder how Sanji's doing. Sanji's not doing
back.
good. There's some blood on those tonfas, and it's he's on the ground. He's close to the front of the camera where the panel is being taken from, and he's shaking. That is brutal. Anything else you want to call about this?
I have to say a few things. I think the big one is hats off to the paneling, like the wood panels and the shots. We've talked about it a few times, but it adds a lot of depth. I just realized the lines of the panels on the floor, it's popped up in a few in our panels, and I think that's super cool. It adds a lot of depth and range into the picture, so we kind of get like an idea of where they are scale-wise. But also, I think what's really cool is that you get Sanji in the shot, you get a very menacing Jin in the back with Sanji's blood dripping down, and right behind is the thing that Sanji's trying to protect, which is Zeph.
I didn't see.
Zeph's
I
in the
didn't see
picture.
Zeph.
Zeph's in the picture back there, and it's the Bratier, right? Like it's all of these things.
And and just like we haven't gotten too many panels that show the extent of the height of Zeph's hat, and here we can see it. Look at that. Look at Zeph's hat. Woo! That's how I knew it was Zeph, because I was like, what's Eric talking about? What's back there? And I'm like, that's Zeph for sure. No, that's really cool. I did not notice that. Like, and it's kind of like, and Jin standing between that right now, right?
He's standing between that, right? Yeah.
Oh, man. Every panel's better than it is in what it seems. It's incredible how much attention.
So much imagery into the thing. It makes you wonder, like, how much you miss when you're just reading other stuff, All right, hit me with yours.
Boom. It is coming across the interwebs. And again, I feel like we've been talking about rules and fighting, and I just keep cheating. So I'm cheating again because this. You describe what you see. It's both of them. It's the one square, the one panel, right?
It's not one panel.
It is. It's just one rectangle. It's one square. I mean, but they're like together.
Where
they
is this
form.
panel taking place? Okay, so this is a panel. The one that you would read first on the right hand side is Sanji saying "creak, creak, creak," so getting busted, and then you have Luffy on the next panel right next to it, looking dumb, and looking surprised and worried. It looks like.
You got it. And in particular, I like this because it was after Luffy had been making monkey faces at Krieg, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he was confident making monkey faces, and then when he sees his buddy really injured, the monkey face looks a little more worried. Like you can really see Luffy's tension there, right?
Actually, in the context of this frame, it's kind of hard to see what Luffy's reacting to. He's either reacting to Jin missing on purpose, or Sanji like in pain.
Well, yeah, because this would have been the page before. So yeah, quit playing around. I was taking it as this is Sanji misses the hit, right, and is clearly in pain, and I think Luffy was seeing that Sanji, like, I thought it was the worry of Luffy that, oh my gosh, like, Sanji didn't actually get hit, but, like, is in incredible pain from just having landed one of his own blows.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought maybe that was...
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But, yeah, you're right. There's a couple ways to read it, depending on how what you're actually thinking.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say before we close out this chapter and this recording that I know I think I might have just been a little too harsh about the whole Jin thing. I think really I wish it was just another chapter longer, because I do think that Jin's having a very big internal fight within himself through this whole chapter. Like from the beginning of the fight to the end of this chapter, he's like he doesn't want to be this thing because he keeps repeating the word die. Have you noticed how much he says the word die? Or I'm going to kill you. I'm going to end you. Like it seems like he's not saying that to Sanji. I feel like he's like reminding himself that you need to be this thing. You need to be this thing. You need to be this demon. You have to kill him.
I see what you're saying.
Right? Like
yeah, it's maybe it's a little bit to do with Jin's character design too. Like he is not the most. He's a more regular looking person than a lot of our other baddies.
Yeah.
And so maybe that makes us like not giving him as much credit as far as reading into his emotions, right? Because he's not overplaying them. Our little actor Jin is subtly doing the work here, and we're not giving him any credit.
I know exactly. He's more subtle in his acting. But
again, I cheated with the the reason it feels like one panel to me is because it's like it's a space of a square, and then it's cut diagonally in the middle between them two, and so that's kind of like one panel.
Yeah, it's also a fun little opposite feelings of emotions happening in the.
I that's why I put it in there. I'm becoming the Krieg of panel battles, and I gotta stop because I had a big speech about how like I respect the rules and stuff like that, but apparently my words are a little empty, a little fluffy. There's no rules in panel battling. Oh my goodness. But that said, if you want to join the no panels battle rules nonsense, grandlinetourist@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right.
Name of podcast.
Okay. So I actually had a fun idea. You know, Krieg he's been taking out all sorts of weapons. He's just been queuing them up, dishing them out, and I wanted to go ahead and kind of like I'm going to be a little bit of an onomatopoeia controller. I'm Krieg. I'm going to call out my next weapon, and you just make the noises of the variety of technical swooshes and stuff that happens as my shield manages to pull out said weapon. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Poison gas. Automatic machine gun. Axe thrower.
Hey, please, I have a family.
Rat exterminator catcher.
I'm here to get your rats. Get your rats here. I'm here to kill the rats. Oh, do you need me now, Krieg, or you want me? I could go back. It's cool. I'll come back around. My kid has a soccer game anyway, so I should probably go watch that.